Rising up, here we go. No time to be afraid. They say it's impossible. Can't listen to what they say. They got me motivated. Oh yeah, I'm motivated.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Maximize the Business of You. I'm Maximino, and thank you for joining me on another episode. Today, we talking side hustle, entrepreneurship, and thriving during these difficult times. My guest today is David Marrero, a.k.a. Paper Mirrors. David is an entrepreneur, wellness advocate, and author. David offers keen insight on social and spiritual development, emotional intelligence, addiction, and recovery. Welcome, Dave.
What's up, guys? Thank you.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. Happy to be here.
Thank you, man. Man, we go way back. I've known Dave since he was little Dave. Castle Hill Projects, boom, right here. You know, you hear that? Castle Hill Projects. Tell me a little backstory. I want people to get to know you. So tell me some of your backstory and how you overcame some of the traumas and difficulties of your life to be at the place you're at right now.
Wow. Well, I grew up Castle Hill Projects. Parents were addicted to drugs, as well as my uncle, who lived with us as well. A lot of domestic violence. A lot of stuff that inner city kids go through. I've been in a lot of institutions since, early teens, jails and stuff like that. And I think it was about 97, around that time, I was struggling, I was getting high and running the streets. And I came home one day to my mother's house and, I was looking for a cigarette. And I opened the closet and a book fell from the top shelf, and landed at my feet with the title of it. And the book was called We're All Doing Time, right? And in that book, it was an organization who, they created this program called the Prison Ashram Program, the Human Kindness Foundation, where they go into the prisons and they teach meditation and breathing exercises, yoga. And at the time, I wasn't really, I was, Christian based, and I was taught that meditation, was inviting demons in and stuff. But so I started practicing like these breathing exercises and these techniques and stretching techniques. And I remember I stopped smoking cigarettes that night, and it just kind of whet my appetite for like spirituality and, Eastern philosophy and traditions. And it just, I just started this journey of, discovering, self-discovery and just had a lot of questions as far as, God and purpose and meaning of life, and that started my journey, man.
Dope, man. So we know a lot of the same people. We've grew up around the same people. In our community, there seems to always be, there seems to be a cycle of poverty, a cycle of neglect. Why do you think that's so prevalent in our community?
Well, for one, I believe that we're programmed, to be workers, right? To be employees. We're not taught financial literacy. I believe that a lot of the beliefs and information that's passed down to us, it's a deep question. There's so many, there's layers, but I think it's just, we're just taught to be workers, man. I don't know too many people, with their own businesses and stuff,
Right.
Growing up where I grew up, a lot of people were on welfare. That's like the goal, like getting Section 8 was like, if you got that, you arrived. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Drugs,
right. Yeah. So what made you want something different? I know, you spoke about, the trauma in the household and what you went through as a kid, because that's all we saw, right? We saw people selling drugs. We saw people taking drugs. We saw violence. We saw unhealthy eating. What made you say, you know what, this is not what I want for myself?
Well, you know, it's funny. Like I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit since I was a kid. I used to collect baseball cards and comic books, and you know, I would go to these trade shows and sell them and trade. So I always had this, and I used to fix Nintendos when I was a kid. I learned. You remember when you used to put the cartridge in and it used to blink, right? You remember that?
Yeah.
Blow them and, you know, hit them and stuff. So I learned how to open them up, right, and fix Nintendo. So my father had a lot of people at his job at the time. You know, they would send them their Nintendos. I would fix them, you know, and I would get paid for them. So I always had this spirit in me. It wasn't until I was in prison one morning. I was in Clinton Annex, and I woke up on Saturdays. We was only allowed to use the kitchen from 10 to 1, and then they closed it until about 5. And I remember waking up late one day, and I wanted to make something to eat, and the kitchen was closed. And I looked at the menu, and I was disappointed because I didn't like what they were serving in the mess hall. And I was walking through the day room, and I was like, yeah, you know, none of these motherfuckers in here, you know, sell food or hustle. And I remember one of my friends said, you do it, you know. And when I went back to my cell, I said to myself, yeah, why don't you do that, you know? And I remember, like, I started selling breakfast. I started juggling, you know, food and stuff from commissary and selling cups of coffee and honey buns and it grew. And then people started coming to me and say, yo, I make toast, yo, I can make pancakes, you know, and I can make, you know, pastelillos, and we could just turn that kitchen into a freaking restaurant, man. And we was killing them, man. We was selling food, and they was calling me Dave Bucks. They was like, who you think you are, Dave? But, you know, it sparked something, man. And it was like, oh, wow. Like, and I remember, like, not having to go into my account to buy food and stuff. Like, everything was...
Because you was hustling.
That's right, yeah.
Man, I've always known you as a hustler. You've had so many side gigs, you know, throughout the years. Can you just name a bunch of different things? I mean, you started with that prison gig, but give us some other things you've done, because that's what I respect about you. You know what I'm saying? That one door closes and you make another door open up. You know, and a lot of people can't do that. You know, a lot of people, like you said, are trained to become employees, and you've never seemed to go that route. You didn't seem to fit that mold of being an employee. Can you give us some side hustles that you've done throughout your life?
Well, first of all, I've had a lot of jobs, right? I worked at a station, right? I was a barber for many years. You know, I've worked in offices. I've done a lot, but it was very short-lived. I knew early on that, you know, I'm just not an employee. Like, I can't be confined to a certain location. And so I had a barbershop, as you know, right? I had a barbershop when I came home from prison. Let me tell you something. There was a promotion when I was in prison, free international long-distance calling, right?
Right.
So I was selling 3-way phone calls in prison, right? $30 a click. So they would send these disbursement forms from prison to a P.O. box that I had, right? So I acted like there was a T-shirt business, right?
Right.
You know, my kid's mother's last name is a word, right? So it looked like it was a business name, you know, something and the word, right? So they were sending disbursement forms as if they were ordering T-shirts, but they were really buying phone time. So I was selling these half-hour clicks for $30. So when I came home to a nice chunk of change, right? Because I was doing that for a couple of years, and I was able to open up a barbershop.
Yep.
Right, and so I had a barbershop. I had a collection agency. I had a marketing business where I was doing social media management for businesses. I was doing websites for businesses.
I remember that. Yep.
I still do that too. I still do that, from time to time. I have a power washing business where we clean awnings and we install bird spikes. What else? I got right now during this pandemic, which I didn't even plan, right? So I sell sea moss, tonics, lung teas, health
Right.
products,
Right.
health.
We were going to talk about that. That is called the pharmacist. Can you explain the pharmacist to everybody?
March 27th, right? I had no vision. I wasn't even planning this, right? There was a book in the middle 2000s when I first came home called Secret Cures They Don't Want You to Know About by Kevin Trudeau. He had a lot of infomercials at that time. I read the book, and it just it put me on to a lot of the pharmaceutical stuff, and just a lot of health cleansing, the digestive system and how the immune system is 80% is created in the gut and blah, colon health. And so I really started getting into this health kick and incorporating it into my life. And I saw that it was working. Like I suffered from asthma and allergies, and I saw that was like subsiding, and
And you were overweight. You were overweight.
was extremely overweight at one time. So it was working in my life. So March 27th, I just came back from California. I broke up, girlfriend. I was kind of going through some depression, lack of motivation, and something told me, get up, go to the park, do some exercise. And so as I'm doing that, I'm doing my morning ritual where I'm doing like the lemon water with the baking soda, right? Making my tonics. And I was like, you know what? Let me record myself making this. And I put my camera on live, and I recorded myself. And when I finished the video, I had about 5 messages. They were like, yo, can you make that for me? I'll buy it, And I was like, all right,
Ding.
I started making them, and I delivered, and I took pictures. I put it on my Instagram, right, on my Facebook, and it just took off. And then a lot of people started asking me if I had sea moss. So I was like, let me look into the sea moss thing, So I found a connect, someone who distributes the sea moss at wholesale, and I learned how to make it and jar it up, right? And it just took off, bro. So March 28th, which is like the first day that I started to sell the products, and I haven't sat down since.
And that's a good thing. But it seems like people woke up, right, and were like, wait a minute, I got to get healthy, and that's why that interest came in, and you were nimble and quick enough to pivot and take an opportunity and make it something. And now it's your business now, right?
Yeah. Actually, it's actually the main
source of income.
That's right. It's so the other businesses took a back seat,
Of course. As an entrepreneur, what we're talking about is trying to survive and thrive and make a living during these times, because I feel like you can't depend on the job anymore. I think we're going to have more cuts, we're going to have more layoffs, and now's the time to be more entrepreneur and create that side hustle where you're not going to be stuck. So can you give us some books that you've read? You started out with a book that changed your life, right? Can you name that book one more time and give us some more books that you think will help people on their personal journey and their personal development?
Well, the book that I was referring to is called We're All Doing Time. The author's Paul Lozoff. He passed away a few years ago in a motorcycle accident. But, that book definitely planted the seeds in me, to seek and research. But I've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I wanted to talk just a little bit about that. Like, we're taught to trade in our time for money, right? And work for money. And what resonated with me, what makes sense, is making money work for me, right? We make money work for ourselves. And if we could find a way to generate revenue while we're sleeping, right? Then we're on our road to financial freedom. But also, like I referred to earlier, like a lot of us are not taught, financial literacy.
I was gonna say that that's a big issue in our community. I mean, I didn't learn about money till my 30s. But go ahead, continue on your point.
So Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert, what's his last?
Kiyosaki.
He put me on, man. Like when I read his book and I started to apply the principles in that book, really, really changed my life, man. Like,
Yeah.
I believe, you know, you look at the blueprint, and I want to emphasize this. Like a lot of people talk about the 1% that owns the wealth, right? A lot of people don't know that the bottom percentage of that 1% earns $400,000 a year.
Right.
If you could earn 400,000 a year, you're in that 1% bracket, right? So I said to myself, well, that's approximately $1,000 a day. I can't sell 10 things at $100, right? I can't sell, 100 things at $10. You get what I'm saying? Like when you break it down, daily, it's really not far fetched, right? It's doable.
Absolutely.
So another book, Think and Grow Rich, powerful stuff, right? See, a lot of people don't realize. You say you were rich. You got to speak for yourself. I'm wealthy, bro.
I feel the same way. I'm talking monetarily yet.
Well,
Monetarily. Yeah.
here's the thing. One of the things that I've finally realized and accept is that our mindset and a lot of us are spiritually bankrupt, right? We're seeking outside for what's inside of us already. So when we tap into our inner resources, and we feel wealthy, right? Self-esteem is self-worth. When we begin to feel good about ourselves and value ourselves, appreciation, right? Gratitude. When something appreciates, it goes up in value. And I believe that as a people and community, we suffer from, low self-worth, right? There's a lot of self-loathing in our communities. And that reflects on our circumstances. A lot of us are so eager to change our circumstances, but we're not willing to change ourselves, right? When we begin to change ourselves and raise our value and appreciate ourselves, we begin to raise our value. When we raise our value, we multiply our value and we draw more things into our life to appreciate, right? Gratitude, gratuity, right? So I believe that it starts with that. It begins with the internal process, and for me, a lot of, self-inventory work, right? Healing stuff. I'm still doing healing work.
It's a lifelong journey. It's a lifelong journey.
Taking care of our temple, eating better, exercise, fasting is important, right? That's where it begins. Because, with all the money in the world, this is my experience. I've made a lot of money. I've had a lot of opportunities in my life, but I didn't feel worthy of it, right? I didn't feel like I deserved it. So I sabotaged a lot of opportunities. You get what I'm saying? I didn't feel like I was, I was even, I could afford it, so to speak. And that's dealing with anything, relationships, right? Opportunity, anything in life. So for those who are watching, if you find yourself in this cycle where, these ups and downs, or, you just find yourself, getting opportunities and losing them, there's a big chance that there's something inside of us that feels like, yo, I'm not worth it,
Definitely. Definitely. Just to clarify, with the wealth thing, I just want to make sure that you know this. I didn't mean to say that you didn't think that you're wealthy or anything like that. Wealth is relative to each person. You know what I'm saying? Some people think money is wealth, and some people think there are other values that create wealth. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with everything you said about wealth and what it means to different people. You know what I'm saying? So for me, myself, I feel like I'm the richest guy in the world. You know what I'm saying? I got everything that I need. I'm grateful. And I believe that's what we all have to figure out. What will make us happy? At the end of the day, it's happiness, right? And once you realize what that is, then you find peace within yourself. And if that's making, $50,000 a year, but being happy doing what you like, or making $1 million a year being happy what you like, then you won. You won the game of life if you love doing what you do. You know what I'm saying? So I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, it's funny though, like it's impossible, right, for you to make $50,000 when you're aligned, bro. You understand? Like you're gonna make so much. When you find out, see, here's the thing, and I talk about this all the time. We're fueled, right? We're driven by a certain fuel, and that's what our emotions are, right? Emotions are energy in motion. So we're fueled by desperation, fear, a sense of urgency, right? Lack, basically fear, not having, right? Um, then we're looking to get something, right? We're looking to gain something. But when we're fueled by inspiration, you know, we realize that we already have what it is that we're looking for. So we're looking to contribute. We're looking to offer something, right? So when you find out what you have to offer, we realize that that's in alignment with our purpose, right? And when we begin to share our gifts, um, the money follows, opportunities follow. We begin to create the life that we want to live because we're living from a place of inspired action, right? Which is in spirit, right? And the spirit is what animates us, right? It gives us life. So that's the difference between someone who has an abundant mindset and a person who has an impoverished mindset. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
If you're in the flow, you don't have to work hard. It's not work. You get what I'm saying?
You're connected.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're in alignment. And I tell people all the time, like, nothing happens in time. I don't need to wait 10 years to get this particular degree for me to start earning $150,000 a year. Once I'm aligned, right, everything happens in alignment rather than time. So that's important for me. Aligning myself so that I get in the flow, right, what people call God's will, right? I call it alignment. Then everything begins, the universe, as they say, conspires with us.
Dope. So now that you made all these great changes in your life, what does the first hour of your day look like? First hour.
I'm going to be honest. I've been a little off lately, but I'm going to tell you what got me to this place, right? I wake up usually 4 in the morning. From 4 to 6, those are the millionaire hours, but they also, for me, portals are opened up during those hours. It's real quiet, a lot of stillness, right? I sit, I focus on my breathing. I do some writing, some journaling. I may read, some inspirational stuff. I do exercise during that time. You know, and so from 4 to like 8 o'clock, I have a 4-hour head start on the average person, right? So I got myself centered. I feel great. I nourished my spirit, right? My mind. So by the time 8, 9 o'clock comes around, bro, like I'm ready to go. Now it's business time. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's what I do, man, to prepare and just to get centered.
Dope. So you're involved with the home care project right now, right there on Castle Hill, real local, Castle Hill and Randall. Can you bring your guest in and talk about what that is and what you guys plan to accomplish with this project? Marilyn Duma. Hi, Marilyn. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Great. So please, guys, tell me more about the project you guys are working on and explain to the audience what it is.
So I think it's a perfect opportunity to elaborate more on what David was saying. When you're inspired to do something, you just go after it. You take action and you go after it. So what we've done is we've taken what we already do well and we've expanded it to serving a community that's underserved. And we're doing it in alignment with the needs that aren't currently met, right? And so we provide home care services to people who are in need. For example, the elderly, folks that are suffering with, some issues that keep them from being able to get out and run daily errands for themselves, right? perhaps someone who has a child who's on the spectrum, who doesn't have the ability to really care for that child because they have to go to work. With all of the challenges during the pandemic, we found that one of the best things that we can do is show how to find reprieve in these times so that we can take inventory of where we're at and what we need and get those things done without the additional burdens of having to figure out life for everyone in the household. And so we're looking to serve as a resource. We're grateful to be able to offer those services, for free, right? To no expense to the folks that will be serving. It is Medicaid-based programs, right? So a lot of the folks will need to have Medicaid to get services in the home. And what we want to do is facilitate, the resources that are necessary to ensure that they meet the criteria so that they can benefit from those services. And working in full understanding that the limitations that the guidelines have imposed on folks, where they can't go to your local city agency and just say, hey, you know what, we're not well, we need help, we need a doctor, we'll facilitate a doctor's visit to the home. So we're bringing services right to your front door, to your home. And David is involved in ensuring that, we reach those folks in the communities where you guys grew up, right? Because it doesn't make sense to have so much success and not give back. And that's what our goal is.
So Marilyn reached out to me through social media because I do a lot of live videos and stuff. And when she told me that they were going to be in our own neighborhood, my motivation, what inspired me, was being able to provide our people with employment, right? Because they're hiring people, they're giving people opportunities, to earn, a living, right? But it also, for me, right? For me, and what my vision is, it's in alignment with me opening up a center, right? And one of the people, that's involved with this organization, he's into the holistic stuff, so it introduces people to the services, right? It gets them, their home health care stuff. It hires people from the community. And eventually, we'll be able to expand, hopefully, and introduce people to, holistic healing, avenues and modalities,
Dope. So when does the center open up? When does it open up?
Sure. So we're actually having our soft grand opening January 17th. And what we're looking to do is engage as many local businesses, right, to help empower, them as well to get involved, since they already provide the products that are needed, to those folks. We want to just incorporate as a true partnership to do that sort of outreach and ensure that the folks are getting their needs met.
Great. Where can people find more information on the center, and how could they get in contact with you guys?
So we actually have offices in all areas. We are La Dorch. There's a phone number that goes directly to our offices. We're 24/7 operation, right? So anyone that needs any service, if they can't immediately reach us, they could definitely leave us a message, hit us up on one of our social media sites, and, we'll get back to them immediately, if not instantaneously.
Awesome. David, Marilyn, I appreciate you guys being on the show. I love what you're doing for the community. Dave, I'm already a big fan, always been a fan. I've watched your journey up and down, and you keep going, and I love it, and don't stop. That was David Marrero, a.k.a. Paper Mirrors. Everybody, go follow David on all his social, and remember, always bet on yourself. Peace.